Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning into your program. You're watching live TV, so they'll get to me. You already saw some of the guests that are here, but I'll introduce them formally in just a second. But again, I want to thank you for inviting us into your home. This is your community service program hosted by yours truly, Victor Trevino. You know, we got Thanksgiving just around the corner next week, and we got some guests here that can really talk to us about, you know, what it means to celebrate Thanksgiving, not just on that special occasion, but every day. So I'll introduce those very special guests in just a second. But at this moment, my reporter on the street is telling me we got breaking news. So let's go to breaking news at this time. Are they working on it? Okay, they're getting it ready for you. But again, oh, I do apologize. A friend of not just mine, but many in the community, unfortunately passed away, a veteran, Mr. Ben Sines. We want to do a little tribute to not only express our condolence, but also to celebrate his life. You're watching some of the pictures of him as he was growing up here in the Magnolia, the East End area, served in Vietnam. Not only did he serve his country, but he came back and served his community, always involved with the American Legion, the veterans, just a great role model. An individual that will truly be missed. So we just wanted to express our condolence and to the family, our prayers, but also to celebrate his beautiful life. Yes, he came out on the show here several times when we were celebrating Veterans Day or Memorial Day. Him and some of his colleagues would come out here and share with us some of their stories and how they continue to serve, not just their community, but continue to be role models for their family and for all of us. We salute you, Ben Sines. Now at this moment, my reporter's telling me that we got some breaking news, so let's go to breaking news at this time as they prepare the video. Can you believe it's already Thanksgiving? Let me give you a little trivia out there and see who was the first president to pardon the first turkey. You know, that's a tradition that started not too long ago. I'll let you think about it. The first president that pardoned the first turkey, and turkeys were celebrating after that. Let's go to our breaking news at this time.
Today we are having our annual turkey distribution courtesy of the Hess Corporation. Each year they donate all of the turkeys and all of the fixings for our clients in 3 different locations. I think today we're serving about 900 people here out of the Denver Harbor Multi-Service Center. Yeah.
Giving out cabbages, we're getting out potatoes, avocados, beans, all produce for Thanksgiving.
It always feels great giving back to the community, underprivileged families who don't have a whole lot for the holidays. Always feels great to give back.
Just for us to come out here and take care of others.
There's an assortment of groceries. There's canned goods. There's lots of things you would normally eat for Thanksgiving. I've seen macaroni and cheese, vegetables, just things that families can use, rice, beans.
Giving away a whole turkey for Thanksgiving.
It's a blessing. We're so thankful. We're very blessed. We're very thankful for their help.
Vine a levantar mi turkey para cenar el día del turkey. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, fat food. Fat food.
Oh, I love it. I need it. I haven't worked in 5 years, so this comes in handy.
Ooh, it's a blessing. It is a blessing. Yeah, it's a blessing. Ooh, well, you're going to make it all right, you know, because I didn't know what I'm going to do.
Oh, it helps me a lot. Right now I'm unemployed, so I really do need this right now. especially for my children.
Oh, I'm very thankful.
It feels wonderful. I don't know what I'd do without it. It's going to be so much better now that it's just really unbelievable. I really appreciate this.
It feels wonderful. I didn't even have a turkey last year. Not for Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Target Hunger, you can find out everything you need to know about us at targethunger.org. And you can call our office at 713-226-4953.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Wait till the next set.
Again, you know, breaking news on the Victor Trevino Show is talking about great people doing great things. You just saw a few examples. There's so many out there, but, you know, our salute, again, not just to Target Hunger, but to the Rockets organization. You know, we always love our sports teams. We always want them to win out there. But I think, to me, the biggest winning factor is these sports teams like the Houston Rockets you saw out there, along with Clutch there, and the Hess Corporation. We just want to say thank you. And you heard the comments from the people, some of them saying, you know, I didn't have a turkey last year. I'm unemployed. This comes in real handy, you know, especially with my children. And just a lot of great comments. People are very grateful. And this great city is also very grateful to the Houston Rockets, the Hess Corporation, Clutch. Thank you, Target Hunger. We salute you. Keep up the good work. And, you know, breaking news always comes first here on the Victor Trevino Show, not because we can't handle some of the tough news. That's why our partnership with Crime Stoppers is very important. So at this moment, let's go to our Crime of the Week.
Crime Stoppers and Constable Trevino need your help in identifying the suspects responsible for the capital murder of 43-year-old Rafael Ortiz Frias. On the morning of October 1st, 2013, at approximately 1:30 a.m., officers with the Houston Police Department were dispatched to the Skyscraper Shadows subdivision in Houston, Texas. There, they found the body of Rafael Ortiz Frias on the 9600 block of Randolph, lying in the street. The Houston Fire Department and officers with the Houston Police Department pronounced him dead on the scene. After a thorough investigation, police officers believe that Frias was murdered during the course of an aggravated robbery in which his iPhone was taken. Take a look at this photo. This is the face of 43-year-old Rafael Ortiz Frias. If you know the person responsible for this man's murder, call Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. That's 713-222-8477. You can also download the Crime Stoppers of Houston mobile application, Houston Crime Stoppers, in the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, or the BlackBerry App World. Callers to Crime Stoppers always remain anonymous, and you'll be eligible for up to $5,000 in a cash reward.
Again, if you know have any information on the Crime of the Week, please call Crime Stoppers. And we also want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, because of your support of our Crime Stoppers here in Houston, Harris County. You've made it the #1 in the world, because it's a win-win situation. See, when you call, your name is never discussed, never mentioned. Right away, they give you a code, and that's the only way you communicate, through that code. We just want the information that's going to help us solve this case. This was a homicide, an aggravated homicide, and a young man, 43 years of age, Rafael Ortiz Frias, lost his life on October the 1st, about 1:24 in the morning, right there on a Skyscraper Shadow subdivision, 9600 block of Randolph. If you have any information, please call Crime Stoppers. And again, you will always remain anonymous. Your identity will never be revealed. This suspect needs to have their day in court. So please help us with your information. And now to my very special guest that I'd like to introduce, talking about great people doing great things. Thank y'all for being here with the Houston Food Bank. Mayra Perez Flores.
Actually, I'm with an Act of Kindness. It's a nonprofit organization.
Okay, well, let me get that straight. Act of Kindness?
Yes.
Thank you. And the Houston Food Bank, John Krager?
Yes.
Okay. and Betsy Ballard.
That's right.
Thank you. Betsy, you're back by popular demand. Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston, Jackie Armstrong.
Yes.
Thank you very much. You know, we got Thanksgiving. You saw Target Hunger, and we're talking before the show. Food Bank's been around for over 30 years. Y'all have done a great job, but of course you can't do it without the support of people out there. And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Target Hunger is one of the largest partner agencies that receives food through the Houston Food Bank. We partner with 600 charities like Target Hunger and Interfaith Ministries and maybe someday Act of Kindness in distributing food to 137,000 people every week. And we're not even reaching everyone who's hungry. There are still more people out there who don't have something to eat. Every day, 66,000 people are experiencing hunger. They can't afford to buy food. 5,000 of those are children. So what we're doing is doing our very best, working in partnership to reach out and provide sustenance to individuals all across 18 counties in Southeast Texas.
Well, you'll do a great job of that. I'm sure your philosophy is like many of us. There's always room for us to do more. And to do that, we need you at home to be aware of it. Also, what you can do to be a part of this ongoing success that we need and for a great cause. John, wouldn't you say so?
Absolutely. Yeah. It takes a village, as everybody says. And what I do at the food bank, I'm the director of product resources. So what me and my team do is go out and try to find product donations. One of the great partnerships we have is called Share the Harvest Foundation. This is a rice grower down in Danbury, Texas, about an hour south of Houston. It's in our 18 counties. And he grows 120 acres just for the food bank. He gets donations from industry, fertilizer and different stuff, but then he grows that rice for the food bank. And because of that, we pick up a load of rice, full 18-wheeler load of rice every 3 weeks. So it's amazing.
It's a great partnership.
Oh, it is.
Congratulations.
Yes.
And also a big thanks to all the supporters out there.
Absolutely.
Partners.
Yep.
And what about Act of Kindness, Maida? Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, we're a beginning nonprofit organization. We started 2 years ago. My partner, Vanessa Nunez, who's not here today, and I came up with the idea because we were involved with another organization. And we thought about it for a while. What do we want to do? How do we want to help? And there was cancer, and there was, hunger, and there was homeless, and we decided that we wanted to do it all. And so an Act of Kindness, it's an organization that helps the community itself. Whatever you need, we like to do something for it. So this Thanksgiving, we have our annual food drive, which is Feeding Talent, Feeding Hunger. And I was just telling them that the past 2 years we have donated our cans to the Houston Food Bank. We always need the help. And this year the Community Family Center reached out to us, and they really need the help. They're helping about 700 families a week. And so we decided to help them out this season for Feeding Talent, Feeding Hunger, and also to promote them. We're wanting to do as much as we can. They need a lot of volunteers. And so Feeding Talent, Feeding Hunger is this Sunday. So if anyone can help us out, stop by the Talento Bilingüe, the Houston. I don't know if some of you have heard it. It's a great theater.
Navigation in Jensen.
Exactly, Jensen Street, 33.
Right across the street from Guadalupe Church.
Exactly. And one of our wonderful landmarks. I love that place. And if you can stop by, donate 2 cans of food, and help us help. And that's all we need. Everybody needs to help. And like they were saying, some people didn't have a turkey. We're asking for 2 cans per person. And we do a couple of things throughout the year, but this Sunday, 12 to 3 p.m.
Congratulations. And again, of course, just as your title, An Act of Kindness, is always something, I think people want to see, especially those that are in need.
Exactly.
And I know that Interfaith Ministries have been having that Act of Kindness displayed for many years.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're really proud of is this Thanksgiving we're going to have over 1,500 volunteers join us at First Presbyterian to deliver 3,000 meals to homebound seniors. So we're working on that right now. It's our biggest volunteer event, and every year we're amazed at how many people come out from the community. It's more and more and more every year. More people show up and say, how can I help? And we're just blessed to be here and blessed to be part of a community that gives so much.
And y'all been doing it for quite some time also, haven't you?
Right, so this is actually our 25th year delivering Meals on Wheels for Thanksgiving. So we're really proud of that. And as I said, it gets bigger and bigger every year. People just show up and give and give and give.
Now tell me a little bit about Interfaith Ministries as a whole.
Sure. So Interfaith Ministries has 4 different programs. The first is Meals on Wheels that we already heard about. The other one is Interfaith Dialogue, which we bring Houstonians together to talk about their diverse faith, religions, beliefs. The other program is Refugee Resettlement. Last year we resettled over 500 people fleeing political persecution. And then the other one is Disaster Preparation. So we help to prepare the faith community for disaster, which, heaven forbid, if hurricane strikes or natural disaster strikes, we want to be there to connect the faith communities to the city and vice versa to help those in need.
Well, thank y'all very much. And to you at home, thank you for always inviting us into your home. We'll just put the phone number in case you want to call, make a comment or suggestions, and then we move on to our special guest because there's a lot of information to get out there. Now, the Houston Food Bank, y'all are every day doing something.
Well, hunger doesn't stop. Hunger is a 24/7 problem. And we know that so many individuals are hungry and are people that we may know. I think we hear this common misconception that, oh, well, I can't know anybody who needs food. I've never met anyone who's in circumstances like that. Well, that's not necessarily true. You could be working side by side with someone who's had some problems having enough to eat or having adequate food. One whole other component of the need for appropriate food resources in our community and everywhere is that oftentimes you may earn enough money that you can buy something to eat, but not the right kind of something to eat, not something nutritious, not something that will keep you healthy. And we see diabetes on the increase in many populations. We see children who are suffering from obesity. Obesity in the poverty population is a terrible issue. So I think we have to constantly battle these misconceptions about who is hungry. It could very well be your neighbor. And what better reason to help someone? It's someone you know.
And usually the most affected or the most vulnerable, which are children and senior citizens, that, even though we know that senior citizens have a lot of centers out there, but there's some seniors that still are homebound. They stay home. Yeah. They don't reach out. They don't go. Right. So I know Meals on Wheels has been a great effort there to help out.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we find every single senior that we serve is homebound, which means that, imagine that you've lost the feeling in your fingertips or you can't see. How are you going to drive to get to the center? And all of our seniors are over 65, and many of them have outlived their families, and approximately a quarter of them have even outlived all of their cousins and care. And so what we do is we bring them extra meals for breakfast, the weekend, which actually we partner with the Houston Food Bank for those meals, and make sure that they're shelf stable and that seniors really can get their nutritional needs met.
And I think that's, I remember when it started, the program, it's been many years ago. How long has Meals on Wheels been? It's been, anybody have an idea?
Well, so Meals on Wheels was originally chartered, I don't want to give you the wrong date, but I want to say in the 60s by the federal government. So there were organizations and churches getting together before that and doing it, but officially the government got behind it in the 60s.
Well, I think I remember reading, maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, there was President Johnson that started with the idea of the free food in the schools, and it built from there.
Right.
But what he remembered as a young teacher, somewhere, I think in mid-Texas or the Valley, where he would see a lot of the children coming hungry to school. Mm-hmm. They didn't have food, and they, were just not in the mood to learning. So he did something that kind of revolutionized the country in making sure that children were addressed, and then senior citizens were addressed. So, and for that, I mean, we still have the need for other organizations to also be a part of that, especially more on a grassroots level.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's exactly what An Act of Kindness wants to do. We're, of course, you have the organizations that have their roots, and we're just getting started. But I think the main or the main reason we wanted to do this was because we volunteered for organizations like yours, and we saw that we needed to do more. Because yes, a couple of hours as a volunteer is great, we definitely need them, but then what happens afterwards when we can't because we have to work, when we can't because, I mean, school came, was in the way. So what else can we do? And that's why An Act of Kindness started. And I'm very blessed to have a lot of people in my life who ask themselves those questions, and little by little it grew into an actual nonprofit. And now we do events every other month in order to support whatever organization may need it. I was just telling them before the show started that in June we had, it's called, well, the organization is called Stand Up for Kids, and we have an event called Playing for a Cause. And so we gather gaming enthusiasts in order to, have a tournament, and we ask them for any donations that they can, and that helped the Stand Up for Kids organization. So we come up with ideas like this. Our members, right now, we're actually 15 of us, and but we have a lot of volunteers, and that's what makes a difference, because the days of the events, which are very big events, we have a lot of people from the community come and support us. And
thank you for all those efforts. And, we are running out of time, but I want each of y'all to have some final comments, and I want you at home, again, to be reintroduced to these great people that have been helping for quite some time. And even to the new organizations that are coming along, we salute you and we wish you the best. But John Krager with the Houston Food Bank, some final comments, John?
Yeah, so I would like to kind of put a ask out there, that the Share the Harvest Foundation has been around since 1984. The gentleman that runs it is getting older, like I am, and we like to see it sustain. So right now, Jack O'Garrett is the only gentleman that's actually growing the rice. We'd like to ask other rice growers if they'd consider, you don't have to do 120 acres, if they could do 5 acres or 10 acres, and to keep the program going, So I'd like to see it, outlive me, and keep on going.
Well, it should be an ongoing partnership. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Congratulations to you.
Thank
you. Betsy Ballard, final comments?
There is such power in working together to solve problems, and that's what the Houston Food Bank is about, is bringing together those who are in a position to help all across the community. The vast majority of organizations that receive food through the food bank are smaller faith-based churches and other ministries. So I think that's just evidence that there's a lot of love in the community and a lot of people who want to help. And what better way to help someone than to ensure that they have the food they need.
And y'all have done a great job and continue to do so. Appreciate it. And also Jackie Armstrong with Interfaith Ministries of Greater Houston.
Sure. We're grateful to Houston. I mean, we couldn't live in a more generous or diverse city, and we're blessed to be where we are. Over the next year, we anticipate that we're going to serve 1.2 million meals to seniors who are homebound, and we can't do it without the financial support, the volunteering time of Houston. So we're very grateful.
Well, again, to all of y'all, thank you all very much. Congratulations. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with you at home. Right now, we're going to go to a special video showing you some folks that celebrate their birthdays, and we'll be right back.
I'm Pinky Johnson. I'm 75 years old, and I feel like I'm 16. We come out here to communicate with each other, socialize, and love each other because God gave us that gift of love, and we love each other just like He loved us.
My name is Calvin Robinson Sr., and I'm just so glad that the Lord blessed me to get this age, 93 years old. And I deal with everybody that's so nice and kind to me. I like to be around them folk, and have a nice time. It's better than laying up at the house looking at them walls, get in with everybody and enjoy myself. Thank you, sir.
Gracias por venir a mi cumpleaños. Muy amable.
Doy las gracias a Dios nuestro Señor Jesucristo, a estas personas tan lindas que estamos en este lugar, a estos compañeros policías del señor Treviño, que son tan lindos y tan amables y que siempre están con nosotros en todas las buenas y en las malas. Y le doy gracias a Dios por mis 70 años y que estoy muy feliz y muy contenta, y le pido a Dios que me dé mucha vida para verlos a todos. Gracias, Señor Jesús, y que Dios los bendiga y los cuide donde quiera que anden y con quien estén. Adiós.
My name is Evelyn, and I've joined the center in 2009. I have enjoyed every moment with good friends, good laughs, and I enjoy being with my peers.
Hi, my name is Karen Roberts, and it's an honor and a blessing to celebrate the birthdays of these seniors here at the PV Recreational Center. I love each and every one of them. Thank God for the seniors.
My name is Jewel Garrett, and I'm so grateful to be here today and grateful for making a year older, so I just thank God, that He's been good to me. I think it's important to come out and mingle with other people and get you out of the house and keep you from moaning around the house, feeling sorry for yourself. So I get dressed and come out every day and enjoy myself.
Again, I want to recognize all those youngsters at the JWPV right there in the heart of 5th Ward for celebrating their birthdays and always including us and inviting us to that special celebration. As I always mention, birthdays are very special because it gives us the opportunity to reflect on the beautiful memories that we've made, but it also gives us the opportunity to plan the beautiful memories we're about to make. And there at JWPV, it's a blessing. Congratulations to y'all. 5th Ward is a very historical community. Great people in there. So happy birthday, and thank you for inviting us. We'll look forward to seeing you again next time. And now to my very well, before I introduce the special guests that are here now in the second half of the show, I asked the trivia earlier, who was the first president to pardon the first turkey? We didn't get any callers, so I'm going to go ahead and, I know it's a tough one. George W. Bush in 1989 started the tradition of pardoning a turkey. Every year it's been a great tradition, and many turkeys are happy for that, especially if they're chosen to be pardoned. And I'll leave you with this one, and then we'll come back to it. There's only 2 countries in the world that celebrate Thanksgiving Day. Besides the United States of America, who is the other country? But let me introduce my special guest. We have Rini and Mr. Robert Cruz that are on a mission. Robert?
That's correct.
Let's tell us what the mission is. Well, Rini or any one of y'all, jump in.
Go ahead, Rini, I guess.
We're a nonprofit corporation with the state of Texas. We have a 501c3 with a federal tax ID. We're known as the Friends of Gus Wortham, and we've transitioned our name to Wortham Park Friends Incorporated. And since 2007, we've been working at basically keeping an eye on Gus Wortham Park Golf Course, which is a 106-year-old golf course that's been through wars, depressions, and recessions, and the heartbeat of the East End, basically. It's a working class, working man's golf course, and it serves the minorities and seniors and underprivileged, and it's been an honor for us to take care of it. Well, this year, as 6 years ago, it came under attack, and the city decided that the Dynamos should have the piece of land for soccer fields. And this time around, we have another opposing party that wants to take it, and we feel very strongly about keeping it. And we have a master plan that was designed in 2009 by Baxter Span and the company, and I think that it's time for us to utilize it and make things happen for us here in the East End and for the minorities. I think it's important that we look at having a conservancy and preservation status to make us a part of what we really are in Houston.
Gus Wortham's a historical park, isn't it?
That's correct. It's the oldest golf course in the state of Texas, and again, it's come under onslaught by an organization that wants to make a botanical gardens there, and it's a historical park. It used to be the old Houston Country Club, and was eventually sold to the city by Gus Wortham himself. He purchased it from the Houston Country Club at one time, and then sold the park to the city, and it's been that way since 1973. Primarily, the users are golfers and people on the East End, minorities, blacks. Everybody uses the park, but it's been seeing a resurgence in the minority community of golfers, and it's probably the primary golf course for most Hispanics and African Americans in the community.
But it's so centralized. It's right there in a very rich community. But I was glad to see that even the Houston Chronicle endorsed the fact that they want to preserve it. And I also like the way they put it. They put it as a win-win situation. While the organization is promoting a botanical garden, it's a great concept. It's a great idea that it can really benefit Houston. But the way the Chronicle put it, it really needs a bigger space, more land, for the botanical garden, and most definitely to keep Gus Wortham, because to narrow it down to 9 holes and have a botanical, it would be a lose-lose for both. So I think it was good the way the Chronicle put it, because it supports the concept that y'all have been supporting. Because for you at home, when they were deciding where to build the Dynamo, Gus Wortham was the place. They were going to build it there. That it wasn't making money. It was losing money. It needed too much money to help out. And I guess what concerns me is that, instead of destroying something that's beautiful, to figure out the solution and fix it, preserve it. The only example I can think of is here lately, this cancer research organization that came under a lot of scrutiny, that supposedly funds were not being used appropriately. Everyone had their own little fund for their own organization, and there was no accountability. There was no transparency. They were not following any rigid guidelines. But what the state did, which I thought was very smart, because the idea is good to have cancer research. We need it. But instead of just quashing it and shutting down the organization, they preserved it. They put measures in place that would help have more open and transparency. I would like to see that done more often, like Gus Wortham. It's a great park. What we need is the effort on the part of government to say, how can we partner with the private sector, with your organization that you've been at it since 2007? How can we partner with you and make Gus Wortham better? We can improve it. That should be the philosophy, not to destroy something that has been very beneficial to the community. So I just am very honored to have y'all here, for y'all to share, your side.
Well, thank you. I think it's really important that people understand that we're not just there as a piece of land. We're a part of history, Houston's history and Texas's history. We've been there for 106 years. The Houston Country Club was there for the first 50 years, and then they moved on. And in looking at the fact that the golf course has been there through recessions, depressions, and wars, and is still the heartbeat of the East End, and we have a master plan, I think that if people realized how easy it would be to do a restoration of it and make it more profitable in doing so, that we would have more players there, because not only is it a historic place and a wonderful place for tourists to visit, more players in the Houston area and people who come to visit from other parts of town would be happier to play there. It just needs a little tender, loving care, and that's what basically we are looking at doing is getting some funds together to do whatever it takes to get the overflow from Memorial Park and Herman Park and get those people out there playing. Since we've been on board for the past 2 months getting publicity, it's amazing all the people that we have on our website and Facebook and Twitter. And
who knows, maybe we get Shell involved, we'll have the Shell Open here. That's correct.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice? I mean, I know Shell doesn't have anything against our community. It'd be great to invest in our community, a historical community, and maybe just share the opportunity instead of having it in one particular place. Share it. Let's move it around so it's something that the whole city can benefit from.
Absolutely.
But
the golf course itself is very well designed. It's one of the few golf courses here in Houston, especially the municipal golf courses, is not flat. I mean, the area is by the bayou and it has rolling hills, and it's very well designed. The layout is almost perfect for a golfer. So it's a great golf course. It's a fun golf course to play, and there's many golfers here in the city that recognize that. And in fact, the minority community, if you remember that the Pan American Golf Association has basically the Houston chapter has a clubhouse near there, and it's been very instrumental in terms of getting minority involved in golf. Both the young and the old have been there for many years. I mean, it's one of the things minority communities really hasn't been involved in golf for a long period of time. And it's one of the avenues for the young to become involved in playing golf. And it's such a great sport. It teaches a lot of things. It teaches competitiveness, teaches ethics and ethical behavior. So it's very important to our community.
Well, I know that we've made a lot of progress in the East End, throughout the East End, throughout the community, where more businesses move in, more schools are opening. They're building new condos, new homes, and I think that Gus Wortham ought to included in that progress, in the process of making sure that we take this historical park and say we're going to take this and bring in more partnerships to go along with y'all. I think that, not that y'all need the help, but I think it should be a collaborative effort on the part of many, whether it's big business, whether it's even the Friends of Bio that are involved in beautification. That's a historical area. I think the resources is there. We just need to see the commitment. And I know when you mentioned that minorities have benefited from this, but I think the park can be something that everyone benefits from. And it should be looked at that way. Because, I mean, if maybe the Anglos are thinking that they're not safe to come over here, I can assure you it's one of the safest places in Houston. You can play golf there and feel very relaxed. And if you want more assurance, I can make sure we have more deputies out there when we have the Shell Open there. And when we continue to make Gus Wortham what it deserves. And that is a very rich historical site so that Houston can brag about all its great golf courses. But we don't have to just have great golf courses out in the suburbs. We can have it right here in Gus Wortham. And that's why I was wanting to talk to y'all and say thank you, first of all, for your effort, because sometimes you don't get the attention you deserve. And if you do get attention, sometimes it's not the attention that we're looking for. We're looking for a win-win, as the Houston Chronicle mentioned. Let us bring these partnerships to help Gus Wortham. Let us help the Botanical Organization open the Botanical Garden in an area that is suitable and that it deserves. But
and that's what we're looking for too. We're not saying that the Botanical Gardens isn't necessarily a worthwhile venture, but we shouldn't be taking something away from that's already there, that exists, that's historical, that's actually a great golf course. It's one of the few inner city golf courses in Houston. And there's something there that we need to preserve and in fact, not just preserve, but also to restore. So we're not, again, saying that the Botanical Gardens shouldn't be somewhere in Houston. It needs to be somewhere in Houston. I mean, I've been to the Fort Worth Botanical Gardens. I grew up in Fort Worth originally, and Fort Worth Botanical Gardens is a great place. But we're just saying that why take away from something that's already exists in the community and that's been historically been here and is very important to the community. As you know, many of the organizations have Navidad en el Barrio has had their tournament there, and many of the politicians have had their fundraisers there, both politically and charitably. So it's very important for the entire community, and we'd like to preserve it and restore Gus Wortham to what it should be.
And I think also what I envision is you were mentioning earlier, the Lee Trevinos in the 60s was something unheard of. It was just unbelievable, you know, his story, starting as a caddy. But to really expand it to where our local high schools can partner and they can have it there as a local facility, whether it's Milby High School or maybe even started in middle school like Jackson, Edison, and Deedy, to be around there, to have this concept, as you said, it builds up not just good sportsmanship, but it builds up, you know, the philosophy of golf. You know, it carries a lot of attention, a lot of prestige that sometimes most of our young children are not exposed to because of either the cost factor or we don't have the facility, and maybe it's not the interest there, but I think as a society, as a community, we can figure out how to build that interest and not just write it off by saying, well, this park is losing money, we can make money with our concept, and it could, you know, give back to the city of Houston. I think that's a very destructive attitude because we can take many government services and use that approach to self-destruct. You can take that concept. I don't have to just take Gus Wortham. I can take some other philosophies and use that concept about why continue to support this if it doesn't really provide any revenue. We saw it here recently with the Dome. I mean, you know, what really took place, or is it that maybe we let it sit there too long and idled, and then people looked at it like, you know, why should I vote on it? It's been sitting there with nothing. But let me see if we can get a caller that's on the air. We go ahead and go with caller. You want to take one? You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Victor. Hello, Victor.
You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Victor.
Hey, Linda, how you doing?
Okay, you watching the show?
You're watching the show? Well, we're talking about,
Yes.
I don't know if you're familiar with Gus Wortham Park.
Yes.
It's a great golf course.
It's been there for years.
Yes, it's been there for many years. So are you ready for Thanksgiving, Linda?
Yes, I'm waiting for Thanksgiving.
Good.
And I hate for that, you know, for it to go, and because it's been there for years. And
Well, thank you for your support, Linda. And this great organization here that Robert and Rini is part of, they're going to make sure that it doesn't go away. They're going to preserve it. So you just tell your friends about it. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
You too.
All right.
Okay, you too. Bye.
Take care, Linda. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So I do know that once people found out, they've got really involved to preserve it because they didn't know. So you have done a good job to get the word out there, and just to you at home also, just to get the word out there that the idea is just to express your concern that if you live in the Gus Wortham area, that it's a great park. It's been there for many, many years. It's got a lot of potential. Yes, it does need some attention, some tender, loving care. And I think we can find that. Robert?
Yeah, the other thing in terms of the cost factor and the fact that it's lost money, if you look at the overall golf courses here in the city of Houston, Gus Wortham hasn't lost as much as Sharpstown has, or as much as some of the other golf. Brock has lost much more money, and it's almost at a break-even point. But again, like you mentioned, municipal golf courses and municipal services shouldn't just be looked at it on a cost basis, because there are a lot of things that lose money with the city. I mean, parks lose money, but there's a lot of things that we want to keep as city services that don't necessarily shouldn't be money driven. and shouldn't be the cost. It should be the only avenue or the only thing that would be looked at.
Yeah, and because the quality of life is not just measured on just whether it's making money or how much money you have, even though some people misinterpret it that way. But go ahead.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a very important point, that it shouldn't be just looked at in terms of cost. If it's a municipal golf course, it could lose money, and it might be still something that needs to be preserved and something that needs to be restored. Secondly, I think if the Gus Wortham were improved in terms of its quality, then it probably wouldn't lose money. So the city's kind of ignored it, and then at the same time, by ignoring it, it probably has lost some money over the years. But with improvements, and that's what we believe, that with improvements, that not only are we going to save Gus Wortham, but we're going to preserve it, and we also want to restore it, to its original heyday. And we want to do something. The master plan calls for having a big enough facility to host quinceañeras and host other events.
Didn't it used to be that way?
It used to be that way.
They used to have functions, yeah. When you stop and think about 2 million people in the city of Houston, it only turns out to 1.9 cents a person per year as an affordable amenity for the general public, period. Because it's not just people from our area that golf there. There's a lot of college kids that come there as well, and high school students and single parents. So it's important to look at that. And we also offer free golf to children, seasonally, of course. In the winter it closes down, but that's another important factor to keep in mind. And right now we're hoping that by looking at repairing certain things like the cart path, we'll be able to take more players per week and look at it in that perspective of taking care of things that haven't been taken care of in quite a while, to be able to keep the course running at the speed it should be running, to make the money that it needs to be making for the city, basically.
And I think also, you mentioned earlier, what's important is to make sure that it stays booked more, where you have more events there. And I think it'd be great if you do have the facility where you can have the golf tournament, have the banquet in the evening, people can go home and shower and come back, and have a dance. There's ways to improve it, but it's going to take an effort on the part of many to put not just their heads together, but their hearts together, and also, the resources.
We're lacking the community, basically, is lacking an area like that where we can have meetings and dinner parties, eateries, and ballroom, just festival type of events. So it would be very, very nice to have that in our part of town, instead of us having to go across town to be able to have our little celebrations and parties. And we certainly deserve it. We've waited so long to be able to get where we are now.
Yeah, and I think, the country club environment can also be something that, is not just available in certain neighborhoods,
right,
but it can be made part of every golf course for that matter, but especially the most historical one, Gus Wortham. If you create that environment, that atmosphere, I think it can be very inviting to many people. They want to have their banquets there. They want to have their dinner banquets while they golf a little bit. So it could be a win-win situation, but
definitely the facilities as they exist right now are not sufficient even to host some golf tournaments there. Even the charitable golf tournaments, many times a tent is set up outside the facilities or outside as opposed to within the facility. So even the events that are being hosted there at the present time, many times are insufficient in terms of the facilities. So we want something there, and we want to restore it again. We want to the quality that it should be as a golf course. And I think that if that happens, that we'll see an increased use of Gus Wortham, even more so than now.
And maybe there's monies out there that's available through some kind of foundations that maybe support parks or support golfing that someone has left, and maybe by using the concept you have, the history of Gus Wortham, the potential for it to grow with not just more tournaments, but the partnership with the schools, including our children. Maybe it's a proposal that y'all can kind of keep in mind, where you work on it, plan it, and you see the foundations that you can give it to them. Because I think of a foundation that sees this What you're proposing is continuing to improve the quality of life. That's what you're proposing.
Absolutely.
And golf has always been there. I mean, you know, I just can say Lee Trevino, but there's many others out there that can tell you golfing improved their quality of life.
Absolutely. I've seen it improve quality of life for families who have like autistic children and children with Down syndrome. You would think that they would not be able to function learning a sport, you know, like that. And I've seen those children really learn a whole lot as far as patience and being able to be around other people, whereas, you know, it controls their temper tantrums and little blathering type of situations that they go through. It teaches them to be a lot more in control because it's a one-on-one environment and you're focused on that child, and all of a sudden they're finding something that makes them happy because you're happy because they're having fun. So it's not just normal children that benefit from this sport, and I've worked a lot with special needs children, and I find that anytime you make anyone happy, especially children, it's a wonderful thing, especially if they keep doing the sport and they turn into magnificent adults.
I had never heard that side of it. That's very interesting. I'm going to have to read up more on that.
Good.
That golfing can be used in that aspect. I mean, that's an interesting, and I'm sure you've done your...
I have 2 case studies in our neighborhood.
You've done
yes.
your research there, but I'm going to look into it. I know I've got a caller that's on hold. Do we go to our caller this time? You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
I'm on the air.
You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
I'm on the air. Okay. I was just calling and wondering, what can the community do to get behind this project? That would be terrible if that was to go away. I'd love to go golf. That would be really terrible.
I appreciate the call. We'll answer over the air. Thank you.
Thank you.
What can the community do to get involved?
Well, the community can first visit our website, worthamparkfriends.org, and you can read all about us and the history and how you can contact council members and write letters, and there's you can contact us directly, and there's lots of things that you can help with. So if you want to be a part of what we're doing, we welcome you on board. Absolutely, we'd be happy to have you. It's a blessing, actually. So we want everyone to be a part of this time because it is so momentous for us. To me, I mean, being a part of history for 106 years and now getting the community involved for wanting conservancy and preservation status means a lot. It's like we've been saying this for the past 6 years, and now we're really getting serious about it and drawing more attention to us. And it's because it's something that the community wants. It's not just me saying it or Robert saying it. People are coming up and saying, well, why can't we have conservancy and why can't we have preservation status? I tell them, well, you know, the property doesn't belong to us. It belongs to the city. We have to work with the city, and we have to make arrangements and agreements and all kinds of stuff. We all have to work together. So now that we have the support that we have garnered recently, I think that we're a lot closer to that momentous step and making history ourselves.
And it takes time, you know, it's such efforts because you're dealing with a lot of obstacles that you're having to face. Not just the idea of someone wanting to build a botanical garden, but the idea that that organization wouldn't have made a presentation if they already didn't have some backing.
That's correct.
So that's the other part. There's already someone, whether in government, feels like they want to do something, but they don't want to come out because they don't want to take the political heat. So they'll get someone like a botanical garden to do it, which of course they were, you know, the concept was probably already there in the minds of this group that we're going to build a botanical garden. It was there. But for them to be so, not bold, but so brazen, so I think disrespectful.
I find it very offensive that a group would come out.
Well, I mean, I know what you mean, but I don't get it. I wouldn't look at it as offensive because, you know, this is competitiveness, free enterprise. But I don't believe this group did it without the backing of some political figure that doesn't want to come out yet until they measure. That's how they do their strategy.
Right, and I guess I want to address the caller a little bit. Is that we have the first issue that we have the issue of saving the golf course, and we're going to need help in terms of, because eventually City Council will decide this issue. the first issue of saving the golf course. And then we have a second issue here of restoring the golf course, and we're going to need substantial help in that regard in terms of restoring it, both financially and otherwise, and help in terms of getting to people who have the financial resources to restore the golf course to what it should be. So there's kind of an immediate issue which should develop in the next probably months or so that we need support on and help. And then there's a second issue in terms of restoring the golf course and getting the funding and the backing necessary for that type of issue.
And we do have a petition online on our website where you can click and sign, and it's basically down to the consensus of the community. If we want to help Gus, we need to sign the petition and basically get other people to sign it and present it to city and say, hey, when the time comes, it's basically we have to make our voice heard that we feel that strongly about keeping Gus Wortham.
Well, time goes by fast when we're having fun. Thank y'all, Robert and Rini. And to you at home, again, thank you. I left you with a trivia question. The two countries in the world that celebrate Thanksgiving, besides the United States, who is the other country? It's Canada. Canada and the United States. And next week is Thanksgiving. Enjoy it with your family, your loved ones, your friends. And remember, Thanksgiving is about not just cutting the turkey and breaking bread, but also to remember those that are in need, whether it's throughout the world or in our community. Let's say a prayer for them. Our men and women that are overseas serving our country, let us also pray for them, pray for their families. That's what Thanksgiving is about. And I think to only have two countries in the world that celebrate it, we should do something to make sure that other countries see the need. And maybe they would say, well, we don't need a special day. I believe we do need a special day, even though every day we can be thankful for all our blessings, ladies and gentlemen. But, I think it's important, especially when we see some of the tragedies that happen, not just here, but throughout the world. So I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Final comments, Robert?
Well, I just like I said, we need the support of the community, and hopefully we will prevail. I believe we will.
I think so also. I'm not trying to be just optimistic. I think it's realistic. Gus Wortham, I think, is here to stay. We just need to work on the improvements in the future so we can continue to improve it. Rini, final words?
I would like to thank the Chronicle editorial board for their wise words. And we do want a botanical garden in Houston. I think it's important that we do get one. It's just a matter of finding the right location, like the Dynamos found the right location 6 years ago, and that this time that there is more of an effort to restore Gus Wortham to its finer glory that it had 106 years ago when it first opened up, and all the names of Houston's families and all the famous golfers that played there are all preserved in history. I think that it would be doing them all justice by keeping it going yet another 100 or so years.
Well, thank you all very much. And just leave you with this. In recent years, how many pounds of turkey did Americans eat on Thanksgiving? In 2007, 690 million pounds. That's what they gave me. Thank y'all. Happy Thanksgiving.